Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Sarah. Today, so I want to talk about how you find an apartment here in the countryside to rent. So renting in the countryside versus renting in a city, it's kind of different, but not really. The only difference here in the countryside is that you have to do a lot more footwork. And in the city, if you want to get a good place, you gotta do a lot of footwork too. So you need to know people in the town and you need to ask questions. You need to start saying, where is there a place to rent? How we started is we went on Facebook and we looked for places to rent in like Facebook groups. We had no luck there, and then my boyfriend's mother started going all over town asking people, everybody, just whoever she wouldn't come in contact with, she would say, do you have anything to rent? Do you know anything, any place for rent? Because it's what happens here is most of the rentals, if you want to rent directly with the owner, are word of mouth. The cheapest way to do it is word of mouth. It is also the hardest way to do it because if you are not Colombian and you do not know anybody in Colombia, you're gonna get gringo prices. So fortunately for me, I have my boyfriend who is Colombian and his mother who is Colombian, so we pay Colombian prices because I live with a Colombian. Second thing to do, if you are just driving around and looking, these are the signs that you're gonna wanna look for. Now this place is actually for sale. Actually, it's not for sale. We called about this place because it's super cute and I thought maybe I could buy a house here and I decided not to. However, these are the signs that you're gonna look for. If it says se vende, it is for sale. If it says se rentar, it is for rent, or se alquilar, I believe, is rent as well. But you wanna see these signs, they're bright orange neon signs. Whether you are looking to rent in a city or you are looking to rent in the countryside, those signs are going to be directly with or from the owner of the place. However, they can trick you. Sometimes they can put those signs because they know people go by looking for them and it is still with an agency. You do not want to go with an agency if you do not have to, because they will double up the price. You will be paying more. And this place right here is also for sale. I think, I don't really know, we didn't call for this one, but this has the sign. These have both had this, have had the sign since we moved in. Try to show you what it looks like, but it's kind of hard, but you can see the door is there. But the reason that we didn't call about this place because the place is huge, but I think it's not, I mean, I think it may cost like $50,000 US dollars, but it's quite a big place, and the second place might be included, but there's no sign, so I don't know. But anyways, so buying, renting land here in Colombia, in the countryside, you can do, there are agencies that do Medellin that you can go online and look for places. On a side note, if you bought that house right there, it is right here on this river, and can you hear how like amazing that sounds? I don't know, if that place had like a bigger garden and like more room to grow things, I might have called. The other place, the blue place, so yeah, like I said, we called about the blue house because it has like space to grow, and it has plantain trees, it has mango trees, and I think it has a papaya tree, and then you can just plant a garden. So that place, when we called, the guy just said no, it's sold. I don't think it's sold, but sometimes they do that because that's through an owner. Okay, so I want to talk about how we actually found this place, because I've gotten a few questions about how to find places in, I'm not a specialist. I'm not a specialist in the city. There are a lot of people who talk about Medellin. So I only talk about things in the countryside. I can tell you the country and the city are like living in two different worlds. However, there are a few things that are just common here in Colombia. Word, I've hit like the time of day where everyone's coming home from work. It's like kind of loud, sorry. Anything. Everyone is like going home. Okay, so the two things that Medellin and this countryside or any city here in common have is if you rent through the owner directly, you're gonna get a better deal. If you're a gringo, you will probably still pay gringo prices no matter where you're at. If you're with Colombians, you're gonna get a different price. If you speak Spanish, you might get a better price, but you still might get the gringo price because just because you speak Spanish does not mean you're a native here. So, like I said, we found our place because my boyfriend's mother started asking around, where is there a house for rent? Because she knew I wanted a house. I wanted to live on a finca. So basically, after she asked about 10 people, and we saw about 5 houses, and sometimes when you go see the houses, if they're through owners, when you show up the place, you're gonna have to clean it. You're gonna have to buy the washer, buy the refrigerator, buy the stove. You're gonna have to supply with everything. Basically, when the house is here, they come with nothing. So, but it is word of mouth. And then if you don't like one house by somebody, ask, hey, do you know anybody else? And they'll say, oh yeah, somebody else has something, because they don't care. I mean, they have a house to rent, but they're not gonna say, oh no, we don't know anybody else. They will gladly tell you. They'll say, oh yeah, my neighbor up the road is renting a house. So it's what happened, how we found our house here. So we had a lead on a house. It's actually in this area that I live in. So we went to see that house one day. The owner was supposed to be there to meet us, let us in, show us the house. When we showed up, we waited for an hour. He never showed up. That's normal. That's just how it is here. You have to like also learn to like go with the flow and not get like stressed out about everything. So we waited, he never showed up. So is what we ended up doing is we ended up driving around the area that we're in right now. Basically this house is right up here. So we ended up driving around this area, and as soon as my boyfriend saw somebody, he asked, he goes, hey, do you know the person who has that house? Do you know where he's at? Does he live here? So we basically went to look for the person. Found out he was in Medellin, he was nowhere to be around, and no one else knew how to key for the house. Except the guy that we stopped and asked for, we then proceeded to ask him, do you know any houses for rent around here other than that one? Are there any more places? He said, I'm not sure, but if you keep going up the road, there's a guy named, I forgot, Don Rodrigo or Don Antonio or something. So we went and found him. Basically, we just stopped and we saw somebody outside. We said, hi, is this place for rent? Do you know anywhere? So we just kind of, we talked to everybody. So we found a couple places for rent, and we literally asked the people who were still in the house, hey, are you guys moving out? I mean, hola, ¿cómo estás? So we basically found these people who had the house that might be for rent, and we asked them, are you moving out anytime soon? I mean, in the US, you would not go up to people and be like, hey, when are you leaving, right? So we can rent your house. So basically my boyfriend said, oh, when are you moving out? And the lady's like, yeah, we actually are moving out, and we're not sure yet. So, hola, ¿cómo estás? Bien, ¿y tú? Sí.
Usted se disfruta estas tierras, ¿no?
Sí, me encanta este lugar, no, es muy hermosa, me encanta esta. Chao. Okay, so that guy that just passed me, that just talked to me, he's the one who told us that the other house might be for sale. He's also the guy who we pay our water bill to. So I always see him when I'm walking, and he's always happy because I'm like, I think I'm the only person who walks these hills because I just love this area. So yeah, so that's it. So now that I know, so here's how it goes. So we found a lady and she said, yes, we are moving out. I don't know when. And we said, well, how can we get the number to the guy who owns this house? So she said, come back tomorrow and I'll give you the number. Because she wanted to make sure it was okay that we gave him, and she wanted to know who we knew in the town. And so my boyfriend's mother is very connected. So we said, we know her, we're blah, 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 it's my mom. And And then that was it. So the next day, my boyfriend messaged the guy, or we went back to see her, got the number, and you're thinking this is a lot of driving back and forth, but that's how it is. You have to drive back and forth. They don't have everything online. It is literally like everybody wants to know who's moving in. If they didn't like us, they would not let us rent a house. They want to meet us, and it even gets funnier. So the guy, we ended up meeting the brother-in-law of the guy who had the house for rent. The other house we were looking for was right up here. You can't even see it, but look, across the street is this factory. So I'm so happy we did not get that. Oh, look at this little, oh. Okay, so the guy, so where was I at? Okay, so we get the number of the brother-in-law of the person who's renting the house. So basically it's all families. The guy says, actually I have 3 houses to rent. So not only did he have 1 house, he had 3 houses to show us. I already knew which one I wanted. I knew the house that I wanted as soon as I saw the yard, as soon as I saw the plantain trees and the avocado trees and the lemon trees and the orange trees. I already knew that's what house I wanted. But I thought, let's look at all of them, you never know. One of them was the one next to us, and I didn't like it, just the setup of it didn't look good. Actually, they're redoing that house now, and that house is like huge at the moment, so I guess they didn't rent it and they decided to upgrade it. I don't know. So anyways, the other house was kind of far, and it was hard to access with the moto, which is like a no-go for my boyfriend because he has moto. That's how we get things, and he has to go to work, and he don't want to work, like walk like 20 minutes just to go to work to get on his moto and then go another 20 minutes. So anyways, so we didn't do that. So basically we said we want the one that the people are living in, but they're moving out. We said we can wait, we have time. We had like a month or 2 in our current apartment. So actually they ended up moving out a month early, but it gets even better because we actually had to, before the guy actually showed us the houses, he wanted to meet us. So we had to go, not had to, but he wanted to meet us in the pueblito and have a coffee with him so he could know us. Here in Spanish they have a saying like, quiero conocerte, like I want to know you, or I want to know, quiere conocer este lugar. Like they want to know the place, they want to know you. So it's like he basically said, I want to know you. Not like he wants to know us like intimately, but like he wants to know who we are as people. So then he showed us the 3 houses that he had. Sorry, I missed that part. But so yeah, so basically he met us, he liked us, saw we wanted the place, and that was it. So we waited for them to move out of the house, which happened a month earlier because they were building a house. They were building a house up the road. So I'm convinced that everyone on our street is kind of related, but they all know each other. So now the fact that I live here and I'm a gringa, I'm the only gringa in the neighborhood. I know the guy that I pay my water to and he always talks to me. I know the neighbor up the street. I know, so not only is it just my boyfriend who knows people, and even though I'm a gringa, I still know all these people as well, and they know me and I talk to them. So now I have like a connection, so if anything were to happen and I want to move somewhere else and I don't know, it's just me, I mean that's not happening, but for example, I could say, oh, I know so-and-so, I know so-and-so, and I know so-and-so, and they would say, oh, okay, cool, 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 and then I'm not sure, I'd probably have to pay a little bit more. I'm sure I wouldn't get like Colombian prices, but I wouldn't get full-on gringo prices because I live here and I know people here. So it's a little bit different. So even if you come here and you speak Spanish and you find somewhere to rent, you could call those numbers and they might tell you no. They will know by your accent, they will know where you're from, and they're gonna wanna meet you first. So it's not something that you can do over the phone or online, especially out here in the countryside. I'm only speaking for my personal experience in this town, this city. This is town, not a city. But I'm just gonna take a wild guess that it is like this in most pueblitos. But if you're in a bigger city, in Medellin, in Bogota, Manizales, you're gonna go through an agency, you're gonna pay more prices, or you're gonna do an Airbnb. But once you're living there long enough and you get to know people, then you can start maybe paying less. However, to buy a place in the countryside, it is a lot of footwork. There it is, come on. Venga. It is, you gotta do the footwork. You need to drive around. First of all, it's good to drive around because you need to see where you want to live. Like, I knew I liked this area because a few weeks ago there was monkeys in the trees. I see an armadillo, I see birds every day. And when I wake up, I see the mountains outside of my house. So I knew I loved this area and I love this town. But if you move to a town that's like super, maybe you move somewhere and you don't know what it's like and it's super touristy, or maybe you want somewhere super touristy and you realize that where I live, not touristy. There is like a handful, but it's gonna be all local tourists. If you're looking for like more of an expat scene, more people who speak your language, this is not the town for you. But that is gonna be very common in any of these small town Colombian towns, unless maybe you go to like, I don't even know what to tell you, because as an example, because honestly every small town I've ever been to, they don't speak English, everyone speaks Spanish. So I mean, you can travel through, but to move there and live there, pay rent and pay electric and do all this stuff, it takes a little bit more, and you have to set it up all yourself. So it's a little bit trickier than living in a city, going through an agency and they do everything for you. That's why most expats and gringos do that, because it's easier. Anyways, so yeah, if you want to find a place in the country, like I said, I'm not a Medellin city expert, but I can tell you all about living in the country. You're gonna have to do your footwork, walk around, meet and know people. So basically, getting a house, renting a house, buying a house out here in the countryside is literally like, it's like business. Know, like, and trust. They have to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you, because if they do not, I can tell you, you will not be staying here long. They will sure as hell make sure of that. Anyways, so yeah, that is basically how to rent or buy a place in the countryside of Colombia. I hope this was helpful. I hope I wasn't too out of breath, because these hills, this is why Colombians are so in shape. Anyways, I'm gonna try to give you a view of this house and the other house before I go. And thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. I will see you next video. Ciao.